Welcome in. It is yet another NFL team preview here on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Previewing all 32 NFL teams leading you up to September 4th. Cowboys and Eagles. Of course, we'll be wrapping things up with the Eagles in a few weeks. But we start off today with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Alex White. And it was an entertaining offseason. New head coach.
Duval.
Dynamic draft pick with a trade up for Travis Hunter and another year under the belt here for Trevor Lawrence, where he tries to bounce back after an injury-riddled 2024.
And that is going to be the big story, right, with Trevor Lawrence. Can he stay healthy? And then also, we expected a lot more of him in his professional career that he has not really hit that mark yet. So should be interesting. A division that is not very strong and a lot of changes between the Colts and the Titans as well. But between those three, we'll see, because it looks like it's still Texans division.
You look at the AFC South, again, as Alex said, Houston at a 9.5 win total, so it's still projected to be 2 wins better than the next two, which is this Jacksonville Jaguar team and the Indianapolis Colts at 7.5. Titans bringing up the rear at 5.5. Jags are plus 170 to make the playoffs. They're plus 275 to win the division, or 30-1. You notice a big gap, even with the same win total between them and Indy here at the South Point. That's just a matter of the action that has been taken here at the book. Here at South Point, 30-1 on conference, 70-1 to win it all for Jacksonville. Again, Alex, this is a new era down there. It is Liam Cohen who takes over from, it was, of course, the offensive coordinator in Tampa. It was a weird hiring process where he agreed to go back to Tampa and then was like, you know what, I'm going to take the job in Jacksonville. And here he is now trying to tutelage of what the guy who was supposed to be the savior of this franchise, the guy who was supposed to be the best quarterback in the NFL pretty quickly. Trevor Lawrence has seen some ups, but he's seen a lot more downs than ups in his NFL career so far.
And my whole thing is, I do think that Doug Peterson is a very good head coach, and it just did not work out there in Jacksonville. And I don't know what was going on, but I thought it was a good time for them to split. I'm a little confused on this hire. I don't think it is the best hire. If Doug Peterson couldn't get the most out of this team in this division, I'm not sure what we're going to get from Liam Cohen here this year. I'm pretty down on the Jags, actually. I think that the Colts and the Titans can both be better than this team. I will not be betting them at any of those numbers at 275 or 3-1 to win the division. I would rather take a flyer on one of those other teams that are projected to be behind them. I think that they are going to be one of the worst defenses in the league, and that is where I start a lot, right? Of course, the quarterback on the other side, and then how is their defense going to be? They were not good last year. I don't think they're going to make any huge improvements this year.
Anthony Campanelli comes over. He's the new defensive coordinator in Jacksonville. He came over from Green Bay. This is a New Jersey guy who has never been a defensive coordinator in the NFL. The last time he was a defensive coordinator was, he's a co-defensive coordinator at Boston College in 2018, but he's the defensive coordinator at Don Bosco Prep, which is one of the best high school football programs in America out of New Jersey. That was all the way back in the that was back in the 2000s. Forget the 2010s, the 2000s. Last time he was a non-co-defensive coordinator. So again, a little bit different job. Of course, well experienced in the NFL and college over the last few years, but a lot to ask. And again, a defensive unit that you mentioned, Travis Hunter, is going to play both sides of the ball, working early in training camp. On offense, they're going to have him go play both sides and split the action a little bit later in training camp. But again, this defense, it's funny because they have some guys who I like on this defense. You have Jordan Lewis, who comes over from Dallas in the secondary that, again, should be able to help. You have Oluokun, who is a tackling machine. Can't really do much else, but he is a tackling machine now in year 2 down there. And then you have the two pass rushers. You have the former number 1 overall pick in Trayvon Walker, and you have Josh Hines Allen. You have the two high-end pass rushers. They obviously paid Hines Allen, but at some point, Trayvon Walker's got to really look like the number 1 overall pick that he was back in the 2022 draft. We haven't seen that fully. We've seen glimpses of it, but it's never been consistent for Walker. If he doesn't take a full leap forward, it is quite possible that this defense is a mess, and that offense is going to have to score and score and score, which, again, my whole rule with first-time head coaches now is I will not evaluate the hire. And that's why didn't destroy the Schottenheimer hire as much as I would have liked to on the Dallas thing. It's why, we think the Ben Johnson hire is going to work in Chicago, but we don't know. Liam Cohen is a guy who took Tampa Bay's offense along with Baker Mayfield last year to heights that I did not think was possible. Especially, remember, Chris Godwin dislocates his ankle in the first month of the season, and that offense still is better than it was a year ago. By the way, he replaced Canales, who was the offensive coordinator before that. And Cohen also as well, he's had a weird background, was in L.A., was at Kentucky multiple times, but he has succeeded as a play caller everywhere. But how does that translate to running the whole operation? I have no clue. By the way, with Lawrence, just throwing this out there, Lawrence is 45-1 to win MVPs, plus 450 to win comeback player of the year in a totally crowded market where Lawrence in most years would actually probably be the favorite, but I don't think as much of a shot this year with Hutchinson and Prescott and others in that market. McCaffrey as well. Again, don't bet JJ McCarthy. He didn't come back from anything. He hasn't played an NFL game. How could he be the comeback player of the year? But Alex, this whole ball of wax here for Jacksonville, and look, they're in the AFC South. By virtue of that, you have a manageable schedule when you play in the AFC South. But the early season schedule is pretty tough into the bye week. Other than week 1 against Carolina, where if they lose that, this could really fly out of control quickly. At Cincinnati, Houston, at the 49ers, and then 3 straight home games with the London game mixed in.
Yep.
Kansas City, Seattle, and the Rams. You could go 1-6. But you could also go 4-3. You could go 4-3 if things go right. I'm going high. I get it, but you beat Carolina at home. You can beat Houston at home. You can beat Seattle at home, and you guys got to find one of those 4 where you're going to be an underdog. But I don't trust this team. I'm with you. I think they're 6 to 8 wins more likely than not. I don't see a total bottom out, but I don't see a playoff team here by any stretch.
I think 7.5 is pretty crazy, to be honest. Like you said, 6, I think that is the ceiling here. I like what they did. I thought it was pretty crazy, pretty courageous to go for Travis Hunter, right? And take a shot at this once in a generation talent here and try and have him play both sides. I just don't think the pieces are all going to come together in this first year. New coaching staff, Trevor Lawrence, like you mentioned, a bunch of injuries last year, including concussions, so they got to keep him healthy. Yes, their division is easy, but they do have to play the AFC West, who we have talked about on pretty much all of our previews, being the best in the AFC, definitely at least the most competitive. And then they have to play the NFC West, and those are not easy teams. Those are great organizations, very well coached there. So I just think it's going to be very tough for them. I am totally fine going under 7.5, getting plus 110. Best bet on the board by far, I think. I had a very hard time even finding pick'em games for them this year.
Wow, okay.
That's kind of where I am with their power rating. So, yeah, I think 7.5 is asking a ton.
So you really like the under, even it's plus money too,
Yeah.
plus 110 on Jacksonville under 7.5. Again, I see the schedule. It's not overly imposing. That's what makes, again, these AFC South teams a little bit tricky where, yeah, that first 7 weeks is pretty tough, but I can make an argument they can win any of those games after the bye week. I can make the argument. I'm not saying they're going to, other than maybe at Denver in week 16, but they're live in every other one of those games. They've played Houston really well over the last few years when Lawrence has been healthy. So I would just be in the camp here. I would lean to where you are, under 7.5. But this is as big of a stay-off team as there is. You can't bet anything Travis Hunter related. Can't bet him in the offensive rookie or defensive rookie markets. There are books that have him up to win both. Those numbers are not fair enough because if you plop them together, the 10-1 and the 12-1, on regardless of what side, you'd be getting a much bigger number than is being offered out there by most of these books. I've said it on the Giant one. I think Abdul Carter is going to have a mega year, and it doesn't matter that the Giants might be terrible. Carter's going to run away with this defensive player of the year. And in the offensive player of the year, I think it's Cam Ward's award to lose because the week 1 rookie starting quarterback, especially now with Levis, there's no competition. Levis has got shoulder surgery, so it's Ward's job. It was going to be his anyway, but now there's really no competition behind him. It's just such a gigantic advantage to having the week one starter at quarterback in this market. Yeah, Genty's, of course, live the betting favorite. You know he's going to be the number one back in Vegas. And we mentioned Omar and Hampton on other episodes where Hampton is going to be live because he's likely the week one starter at running back for the Chargers, who will be a run-first team, even with Justin Herbert. So there's really, Alex, I think there are very few teams where I say I don't have anything I want to bet. This is one that I don't want anything to do with from a betting perspective because the schedule's easy enough to pop a 9-8. I just don't think the roster's good enough to pop a 9-8, but it might be good enough to pop an 8-9, and that's good enough to beat that 7.5 here.
Well, if you are trading lately, I mean, we don't know with the Colts, right? We don't even know who is starting. We do have a rookie in Cam Ward with Tennessee, so they could get 4 wins right there, but I really don't have a whole lot of faith because I like both of their defenses better just to at least keep them in the game. So, I mean, I would even look for an exacta with going Houston and then the other two kind of split up and Jacksonville last. I think that could be a pretty good price there, but I really like that under. I think that is a great bet. Under 7.5, a little bit of cushion if they do take 4 and 1 from Houston and find another one in there. But I mean, even those first, I think Carolina is a much better roster and kind of on the up here where this team is really just starting from the ground up.
See how it plays out for the Jags. Win total 7.5, 70 to 1 to win it all, 30 to 1 to win the AFC, plus 275 to win the division, and then plus 170 to make the postseason. Liam Cohen sitting there as one of the favorites for Coach of the Year at 14 to 1 based off what we're saying. We want no part of that. Again, I just go back to it all Coach of the Year discussions, and we'll bring this up on our Patriot preview and our Bear preview. If the New England Patriots make the playoffs, Mike Vrabel is going to at worst finish second in that voting because of Ben Johnson. Those two guys are the correct favorites in this market. And if the Bears are as good as I think they're going to be, Ben Johnson is going to win this award unanimously. So it's very hard. Cohen's the third favorite. I like Pete Carroll better than him at 15 to 1. I like Aaron Glenn better than him at 15 to 1. I even like those guys that are down the board. I like Jonathan Gannon at 20 to 1 better than him. There are a lot of better bets than Liam Cohen for me on this Coach of the Year. And obviously you like the under, so you think he has no chance of winning this award.
Just to kind of, elaborate on that, you're looking for teams that are projected third or fourth in their division that you think have a shot to make the playoffs. Because kind of like the Raiders going with Pete Carroll, maybe they have a shot, maybe the Broncos or Chargers.
This award is solely based on preseason expectations. That's why you look at the bottom of the screen and John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and Nick Sirianni are the 3 long shots. Because unless if Baltimore, Kansas City, or Philadelphia go 16 and 1 or better, they're not winning that award. 15 and 2 if there's no pure surprise. All right, maybe, but that's why those guys are all the way at the bottom. This is usually the hey, you exceeded expectations award,
right? More
times than not. So,
but that's interesting because a lot of people have this Jags expectations pretty high from last year, right?
You and I don't see. You definitely don't see it.
No.
I just again it's going to be very difficult for anyone to win this award if the Bears make the playoffs, other than Ben Johnson. It's going to be very difficult, especially if Caleb Williams takes a leap forward.
Right.
And if the Bears don't make the playoffs and the Patriots do, and Drake May takes the leap forward, it's going to be very hard for someone other than Mike Vrabel. Again, it's a very odd market because usually this is one where you want to take your long shots. The 2 favorites, if one or both of them make the playoffs, it's a lock that one of those 2 guys is winning in this year, unless if Carolina pops a 12-5 by accident, or the Raiders win the AFC. It's going to take some real craziness for one of those top 2 guys not to win it. And Liam Cohen sitting in number 3. You and I, neither of us don't like that bet at 14 to 1. All right, that's what we got for you here today on the show. The Jacksonville Jaguar preview. All 32 team previews will be ready, available through the next few weeks. Preview getting ready for week 1 on September the 4th with the Eagles and the Cowboys to kick off the season. Alex, we keep this rolling right here on the Sports by the Book channel. Just make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're watching us Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern, to get you ready for the day in sports betting every single weekday.
Yes, we do. Picks every day as well, Monday through Friday.
The whiteboard, as we always have, gives all the plays for today. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. This has been the Jacksonville Jaguar preview. We're back with more next time in the NFL 2025 previews here on Sports by the Book.